But like I said, I'm glad she cleared up this misconception, because with some of these conversations, it sounded like the women were saying, the NBA gets paid this much, why can't we get paid this much? That it's not fair that the NBA gets paid 10 times, 12, 15 times more than what the WNBA players get. And with the percentage of revenue shared, I understand that.
So, in a now viral post from the Residency podcast, WNBA star Kelsey Plum clears up the misconception about about WNBA's players' claim to want equal pay from the league. She states that we are not asking to get paid what the men get paid. We're asking to get paid the same percentage of revenue. This has been a hot topic for quite some time. So,
For some years now.
yeah. So, Sticks, let's get right into it. How do you feel about Kelsey's statement? And should WNBA players get the same percentage of revenue as the NBA?
Whenever you talk about, this is I'm glad she cleared the air as far as the misconception, because there's been a lot of conversations over the past few years from different ex WNBA players and all stars and current WNBA players saying that it's not fair that the NBA gets paid 10 times, 12, 15 times more than what the WNBA players get, which, cool. I understand that y'all's frustration that y'all's highest paid player, which is Brittany Griner and Skylar Diggins-Smith, are only making $221,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy for y'all being professional athletes.
Right.
Some players are making $130,000 a year. I'm close to that myself. So it's crazy that y'all are professional athletes, y'all are entertainers, that y'all are getting paid this much. Why y'all got to go overseas to play ball to supplement y'all's money and this, that, the third, right? But like I said, I'm glad she cleared up this misconception, because with some of these conversations, it sounded like the women were saying, the NBA gets paid this much, why can't we get paid this much? And with the percentage of revenue shared, I understand that, because with these TV contracts and jersey sales and streaming networks and stuff like that actually share their sport, the NBA gets, I think it's a 50-50 split between the CBA and the actual organization. But it's not the same percentage in the WNBA. And I can understand that would help the players more. But the fact that in the last 25 years, this organization has not been profitable at all, not 1 year have they actually made money, is the reason why a lot of these WNBA players can't make the money that they want, because the organization just doesn't make any money. What you think?
So, I mean, I think her statements, she's right. They should get that. However, when you dig into it,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't. What she's saying they should get doesn't add up.
It doesn't. It doesn't. You're right.
And I have a lot of friends that I play. Well, that went to school with me. That I have a lot of women hoopers that I know. So I know if they pay attention to this segment, they might be calling me, letting me know that
we just
they're
spread the
not
news, ladies.
they're
Don't
not
trip.
happy
Don't
with
trip.
me. They're not happy with me. But like I said, when you dig into it, the first thing that you realize is the NBA subsidizes the WNBA.
100%.
Okay. Secondly, as you mentioned, the WNBA has not turned a profit since its creation at all.
Not one
They
time in
actually
25 years.
lose $10 million a year.
$10 million a year.
That's the average. They lost
Yeah.
12 million 1 year, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
to ask for the same percentage in revenue as the NBA, who made their revenue in the last couple years, they just topped $10 billion in revenue. That's not the profit. That's just the revenue that they bring in. And
Mhm.
your league only brings in about 60 million. I don't think you can ask for the same revenue share as the NBA. Now, do they deserve it? Absolutely, they deserve it, because
Mhm.
there are plenty of female basketball players that are very talented and that
Mhm.
could beat some like college players, and I don't want to say NBA players, because you get into that argument where we talked about this 2 weeks ago. Where the Brittany Griner said she could beat DeMarcus Cousins in a one-on-one game, but so they do love it. They
Yeah.
do deserve it, right? I don't think they don't deserve it,
Right.
but to say that you deserve the same amount of revenue share in year 25, comparing yourself to the NBA in year 76,
Mhm.
who makes more than 10 times what you bring
More than.
in for revenue, I don't think you can say that. Now, if you go
Yeah,
back
true.
and say, give us the same revenue share as the NBA at 25 years,
Mhm.
I don't, then they would be making less than what they make now. So I know I'm gonna get a lot of slack for this, but yes, they don't deserve the same amount of revenue share at this point in time. Not because they don't deserve it, it's just because the league does not bring in that much money for them to get that. You know, the NBA subsidizes them. You're
Mhm.
saying what you want is for the NBA to take away the players in the NBA, which we can have that conversation too.
Mhm.
I think the statement you made earlier is telling of the economy that we live in, or
Mhm.
the not the economy, the culture that we live
Mhm.
in America, where we expect for professional athletes to make these exorbitant amounts of dollars,
Right.
when you know in reality they probably shouldn't be making. I don't want to say what they should be making, because you know they did put in a lot of work throughout their life to get to where they are
Mhm.
now, to
Right.
reap the rewards, but they do make a lot of damn money.
Yeah.
um but to say, back to what I was saying, to say that you deserve, to say that the NBA players should um, decrease their revenue share to help you get more for your revenue share, when you, as the league yourself, don't bring in that much money.
Mhm.
I don't think they want that on their shoulders, and I don't think it's fair.
Yeah, I mean, and it's one thing to say, okay, the min, the minimum contract for the WNBA is 57,000 a year.
Hmm.
That's it's pretty low,
Right.
but the average makes 130,000 a year. The average, and that's
Hmm.
like, what's the league minimum in the NBA? Like eight hundred
1.5
thousand,
million.
1.5 mil. You see what I'm saying? So it's like I can see the parallels there, but the problem is the product. Now, understand this though, and ladies, I'm gonna say this right. Me and my daughter went to a Seattle Storm game and oddly enough a Las Vegas Aces game, which who Kelsey Plum plays for.
Hmm.
And I ain't gonna lie, I had a good ass time. I'm not gonna
Right.
lie. Me and Sam had a good time watching that live game. It was
Right.
amazing. It got to a point where my daughter, who was against playing basketball for her school in high school, was like, "Oh, I might want to actually do this now." As a watch, you know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
I had a good time watching the game. But the issue is, what I mean by the problem is the product, is because it's nowhere close to as exciting as a NBA game. Both of those teams that we went and watched, the Storm and the Aces, are two of the best teams in the NBA.
Hmm.
Number one. But if I was to take that game and then go watch two of the worst NBA teams play, the NBA game would probably be a lot more exciting.
Hmm.
So the problem is the product, and the problem is that it doesn't have as wide of a fan base because the game is not as exciting to watch as the NBA. So you can take, not to mention that if you want to have equal revenue share, then you got to play equal amount of games. They play 50 less games than the NBA players play. So you can't. So it's hard for you to play 32 games, and you can't even bring in the same amount of money as the NBA on average in those 32 games, and then expect for players that play 82 games a season to give you more money whenever they're bringing in the majority of the income that your league is subsidized under. So
Right.
it's hard for them to do that. What would you about to say? You about to make a comment, I think.
Yeah, no, I was going to say exactly what you just said, is they play 36 games in like 2 months,
Mm-hmm.
or 2 or 3 months, maybe 4 months. The NBA
Right.
plays 82 games, and if you go to the finals, that's 100. That's what 98 games that you've played
Yep.
in a span of 8 months.
Yep.
So we're talking about, and the WNBA only has 12 teams.
Only has 12 teams.
The NBA
30.
has 30 teams.
30
So
teams.
if we compare those apples to apples,
Mm-hmm.
then
It's
again,
actually apples to oranges, my boy. It's not even apples to apples.
right. What I'm saying, if
Right.
we
But yeah,
compare those
compare those two.
categories,
Yeah, those
yeah, if we
categories. Right.
compare those categories, the games played, the amount of time that's played, and
Mm-hmm.
also the amount of teams, is still, it doesn't equate to them asking for the amount of revenue, because
Right.
the revenue also comes from the amount of teams and the amount of markets that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in more markets and bringing in more fans, because like you
Mm-hmm.
said, if you go to a game, I've never been to a WNBA game. Not that I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to go to one. It's just I
Right.
haven't had the opportunity to go to one.
Right.
Charlotte does not have a NBA team anymore, WNBA team anymore.
Right.
But or do they? No, they don't.
They don't. They don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not in the markets that the NBA is in. So you're not be able to bring in that money that the NBA does.
Mm-hmm.
And you're playing 30 games in 4 months, and then you're asking to make $1 million in 4 months. Mm,
It's crazy, right?
that's crazy to me. I
Yeah,
mean,
it is.
and like I get it. You have when you talk about what NBA players and NFL players make, a lot of players in the league will tell you it's only a small percentage of players in the league that make that
That make that. Yeah.
large money. Like
Mm-hmm.
LeBron James, Steph Curry, uh, Westbrook, those type of players, they're the ones that make that money. But the rest of the league is more around $2-3 million a year. They don't really make that amount of money. Now, all their money is guaranteed,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but they don't make that large sum of money. What I did think was crazy though was that the WNBA does not get money for their jersey sales.
Well,
That's
no,
crazy to me.
that's not true.
That's not true.
They do get money from their jersey sales, but it depends on the affiliation that's selling it. So what she said was, so if you go on WNBA.com or you
Hmm.
buy a jersey from the arena or something like that, they will get profits from that jersey sale. But what
Okay.
she stated was Mandalay Bay Hotel
Hmm.
sells the jersey in their gift shop.
Okay.
Mandalay Bay Hotel is paying the WNBA to be able to sell her jersey in that hotel. So she gets no money from that jersey sale because of the affiliation is actually selling the jersey. But
Well,
if I
is
bought
it
a
a
Kelsey,
back end way of getting it though? So if Mandalay Bay is paying the WNBA for that jersey,
Mhm,
and then it goes on and sells to somebody else,
mhm.
Mandalay Bay has already paid for that jersey. So
True. So
if they're
in that aspect, yes.
if they're paying the WNBA for that money for that jersey, and if what you're saying is true that they still get a cut of that, then she does get a cut of it,
So she does.
whether
She does
it
right,
comes
and I
directly from
agree.
Mandalay Bay or not.
And I agree with you. So it really just depends on the. So in that if you putting it that way, then yes, they do get paid because that's revenue shared coming into the organization.
Okay.
Agreed. But it really just depends on who, like I said, who's selling the jersey. Like straight off the WNBA website from the Coliseum that you're going to actually watch them play, and a couple of other avenues, they get money from that. But Mandalay Bay Hotel does not pay Kelsey Plum for selling the Kelsey Plum jersey for $100
Right.
whenever Mandalay Bay is paying the WNBA $30 per jersey to sell this jersey in there. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So that but see but that's the she she said revenue shared. So is she asking for the $70 share of the $70 profit that Mandalay Bay is asking for, or the revenue that Mandalay Bay gives the WNBA to sell her jersey?
The revenue. So she's talking about the revenue. So the profit is after you pay all of your bills or whatever the case may be,
Mm-hmm.
that whatever's left over is your profit. She's
Right.
not asking for that.
She's
She's
asking for because
asking
they don't
for
have any
the
profit. Right.
right. She's asking for the share, the cut of revenue that comes in. You have to pay us as we're part of the product. We're part of the resources that you have to pay that comes out of the bottom line.
Right.
She's asking for a higher percentage of that. And I
Right.
thought right now they just signed a CBA, or they're under a CBA where they get 50-50, I believe.
It is. They get a 50-50 split of incremental revenue.
Right.
Not all revenue, but incremental revenue.
Right. So and the NBA is at what, 60?
It's, I think 65-35. Let me check.
Yeah. So she's asking for them to get 65% of the revenue that comes in, but they don't make the same amount of money as the NBA, and the NBA is profitable and the WNBA is not profitable. So that's where the the two don't,
Hmm.
the story doesn't meet.
So this right here says that the players and owners collectively bargain to split 49 to 51% of basketball related income
So the
to make
players
sure
get
that
51.
players get 51 and the organizations get 49. So yeah,
Yeah. So
each
she's asking
yeah.
for 1%. Okay. I still don't think they should get that 1%. It's not, again, it's not a knock on the WNBA. The players that play in the WNBA, past and present,
Are
have
amazing.
all were amazing and are amazing, and they all
Mhm.
have made that sacrifice to get to this point to have this conversation. The
Right.
problem is that they're still in their childhood of their life, as a professional sport, where the NBA is 75 years old.
Mhm.
They're 25 years old. They're still learning who they are. They're still
Mhm.
trying to get that fan base.
Right.
They're still trying to fine tune their product. And I don't think they deserve it right now. Not saying that they don't deserve it in the future, but they just don't deserve it right now. However, I
Mhm.
do think they could speed up the process of fine tuning their product if they do one thing. And this is where I think the women get upset, because I've had this conversation multiple times. I do think women get upset with this suggestion. They should lower that damn rim.
You sound like Shaq.
They should, bro. They
I
should
agree
lower it.
though. I
They
agree.
should
I
lower it.
agree with you.
They
I
should
agree with
lower
you.
it to about 9.5 feet,
Mhm.
because then you have more individuals that could potentially dunk in a game and on people, rather than just Brittany Griner and two or three other individuals,
Mhm.
or just the tall people in the league. The
Yeah.
NBA is exciting not only because the dudes are fast or dribble extravagantly, but it's really exciting because at any given moment, a 6'4" dude can go through the lane and dunk on Yao Ming, or a 6'6"
Facts.
dude can go through the lane and dunk on Shaq. That really happened, but it could happen, right?
Right.
The average height in the NBA is 6'6", and you got these cats dunking on 10-foot rims. The average height in the WNBA is 5'9". So
Facts.
drop the rim to 9.5 feet and let those individuals try to dunk on people,
To
and
keep
you're
it a
gonna bring.
bean though, keep it a bean low. If they drop that, nah, they gotta have to drop it at like 9 feet because 9.5 feet is still pretty high for somebody 5'9", a 5'9" woman. No offense to dunk at. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Like
just the average, though.
right, true. But somebody like you said, like like Asia Wilson who plays for the Aces.
Hmm.
She's 6'2".
Hmm.
She could dunk a 9'6".
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But Brittany
Or
Griner, who's six
yeah,
six, who my height, can dunk a 9'6". She can dunk a 10
Brittany
foot.
Brittany Griner
She be
6'9", bro. You tripping?
she 6'9". She might be just doing like this. You know what I'm saying? And it
Exactly.
might be a little bit more exciting. She probably post up, dominate, and then dunk on her. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? That'd
Yeah.
be more exciting. Yes, but
'Cause
like but it's still I still think on average we still wouldn't get as many dunks that we would be asking for at a 9'6" 9'6" rim, bro.
So you saying bring it down another 5 inches? I'm okay. I'm fine with that.
I'm saying
Bring it down.
bring it down a foot, bring it down a whole foot, make it
Yeah.
9 feet, make it a
Yeah.
9 foot rim, and then you can probably have those 5'9" going through the lane, one
I'm
arm, one hand tomahawks, bro. Like
Yeah,
what?
I'm fine with that. Bring it down, or just adjust it to where you can have your average player, or slightly above average, dunking on a more consistent basis.
Hmm.
Because the thing is, nobody. The problem with the WNBA is that men don't want to see women doing something that they could do on a consistent basis.
Right.
Now shooting, I think women shoot way better than
I
most
think
men.
so too, dog.
You
One
know what I
hundred
mean?
percent.
But men don't care about that. I mean, they do. Steph Curry has changed the game, and so that may have benefited the women's league some too.
Hmm.
But we all know basketball was always a big man's game, and to
Hmm.
some degree it still is. But that athleticism aspect of the WNBA hasn't quite caught up with what the public expects, and no man wants to go to a game and watch a woman do a layup on a fast break.
Right.
Nobody wants to see that. So
I agree.
to bring that excitement to the game, or that excitement factor to the game, I think lowering the rim would help them. And so the obviously the drawback and where I hear a lot of the that ain't fair is, well, if you do that, it's going to change my shot. It's going to change this and change that. Well,
Mhm.
you already play with a smaller ball. You already play less quarters. What is it going to hurt to bring the rim down a little bit in the college and professional leagues? Now,
Mhm.
the other drawback would be it'll be hard for high school and lower to change that, interchange the rims for boys and girls, because if the boys play at 10 feet and the girls play at 9 feet,
9 feet.
then it's a lot of
Yeah.
shifting of the rims
Right.
when
Right.
that's
Right.
not easily done. But college and the pros, they can do that easily.
College and the pros can definitely do that easily. But I mean, so I'm gonna go back to a comment you just made that the WNBA hasn't caught up physically with the NBA as far as excitement. But and ladies, I apologize. I'm gonna go ahead and preface this. I apologize in advance. But do you think biologically they can actually catch up to that?
Well, okay, yes, no, I don't. If we're talking about
As far as like
biologics,
speed,
right?
strength,
No,
quickness,
no,
stuff like that.
they'll
Like right,
you'll have your anomalies here and there that
100%.
can, run with the men and whatnot, or do the stuff that men do. But on average, no. But I wasn't talking about comparing them to men. I'm just saying in
Yeah.
general, we're talking about the average person now. We're not talking about a
Right, right, right.
professional, right?
Right, right, right.
So I think the athleticism of most female professional female hoopers
Mhm, mhm.
hasn't caught up to what we are expecting of a
I got you.
professional athlete. Not
I
saying
got
that
you.
they haven't caught up with men, because that probably will never happen,
Mhm,
but just the expectation of what we want to see in a professional athlete,
mhm.
man or woman,
Yeah,
biologically, is what I was referring to.
I got you. Yeah, that makes sense. But I think my final wisdom on this is that with I think the game is definitely is widely popular. There's a lot of men and women fans that love the game of WNBA. Um, it's just the issue is it's not it doesn't bring enough of that eye to the actual sport and to the actual organization to where they can actually get the money that they honestly that they deserve. That they deserve, because just like we mentioned, with them playing 50 less games, them playing for 5 less months without throughout the year, they don't bring in the same type of revenue that the NBA does. It's literally 10 times less than what
Hmm.
the NBA actually bring in, and the fact that you're subsidized underneath the NBA to be able to keep the organization going in the first place. Because honestly, if it wasn't for the NBA, y'all wouldn't have lasted 25 years.
Right, or folded.
They would have folded a long time ago. Being 10 million in the whole year after year after year on average is crazy. So in order for that to happen, the game has to popularize. You have to play longer seasons. You probably have to get more teams in better markets. You have to do a lot of things to be able to ask for that higher percentage of revenue share. Because if not, there's no comparison, because your counterpart, the person who's subsidizing you is making way more money
Yeah,
and keeping you afloat.
right.
So you got to be able to do more to be able to get more. That's my
Yeah.
final thought.
Yeah, so I'll piggyback off that, and I'll try to add a little bit to it. I'll compare the WNBA to some of these upstart football leagues that we've seen in the
Hmm.
last couple of years. Some have folded, some have stayed afloat for a little bit longer,
Hmm.
but they don't make the money that NFL players make. And let's
Correct.
say that the NFL was to say, okay, yeah, we'll subsidize one of these developmental leagues.
Hmm.
Um, would you expect for them to say, all right, well, you're subsidizing us, we're losing money, but we still want to get the same amount of revenue shared that the NFL players do? You know how many people would look at them like they crazy? And it's kind of the same situation that the WNBA is going through right now. Until they can stand on their own, without being subsidized from the NBA, then I don't think they should expect to get the same amount of revenue shared. Again, not saying that they shouldn't, because they definitely will deserve to get it in the future, especially for the sacrifices that they've made, playing here in the summer and then going overseas or whatever in the winter to get more money.
Mhm.
They've made plenty of sacrifices to do the things that they love to do. So if they truly love doing what they love to do and these sacrifices are true, their reward will come in the future.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, some of the players that have made those sacrifices won't reap the benefits of those rewards right now,
Mhm.
but they will see that they have left the game in a better place than they entered into it. And so,
Yeah.
I
And
think
that mhm.
I think if they continue to do what they have been doing, increasing the awareness of the WNBA and the Women's Professional League, getting these contracts that they have been getting. I think they're streamed on Amazon Prime now. They've
On
gotten
Twitch too.
oh, they are on Twitch. Okay, see,
Mhm.
I didn't know that. Oh well, that's a part of Amazon though.
True,
And
true, true.
and then also they've gotten some investments from outsiders to help them become profitable. I think if they continue to do that, then they will see that the league will change, their money will start to increase, and they'll be able to truly enjoy a life of a professional athlete in the United States.
And I agree. And just to do it, and you made a point there from what she said as far as them being able to do it on their own. She said Kelsey at the end of that interview, she said, "My goal is by the time I leave the league, I would like to see it a lot better than I found it. I'm here to ruffle some feathers. If you want change, you've got to be able to see the change. If I have to take a couple of shots for someone else to be able to do it, then I'm all for it." So she's kind of advocating for the league to get better. And
Right.
that's all you need. You need one person to speak up and one person to move forward to be able to see change happen. So then that's what Kelsey's trying to do.
Exactly. And again, if you are watching this, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on the video here on YouTube. Leave us a comment let us know what your thoughts are on the WNBA and them asking to get the same amount of revenue shared. And if you're listening to us on whatever streaming platform, make sure to leave a like as well.
Mhm. Almost made me cry that she did back in the day. Listen, man, I'm telling you, that lady was amazing. Even to the day she passed away, rest in peace. But she was amazing.
Singing is not her thing, though.
Acting, 100%.
No.
Acting, you got that.
Anytime you can sing the national anthem in a tracksuit, a headband, and a face full of sweat, and it be considered one of the best renditions ever done,
Ever done.
you
Man,
can sing.
sing.